This is Game Set Match Kentucky, episode 27, recorded on Wednesday, July 20th, 2022, entitled Rest Easy, Coach Cliff. Hey everybody, it's time for another season and another episode of Game Set Match Kentucky, where we talk about all things related to the Central Kentucky Tennis Series and a whole lot more that you never asked for. It is Wednesday, July 20th. I'm Chris Godby, the chairman and one of the founders of the CKTS, where the lines are good and sandbagging is for golf. I am actually at a new makeshift CKTS home office here in Russell Springs, Kentucky. More about that later. I'm very honored to have Chad Young joining me in the co-host chair. Chad, I'll let you say hello, and then I'll explain why I'm so honored to be in your virtual presence.
Hello, and thanks for asking me back.
It's fair to say that a lot has happened to you since we last did a podcast almost exactly 10 months ago in September last year. You left talk radio to become a tennis facility assistant manager and programming and sponsorship coordinator at Buchanan Park, also known as to us as Buchanan Indoor Tennis Facility. Can you tell us a little bit about your new position?
Yeah, I mean, it's been a wild 9 months or so since we opened on November 1st. We had one of our first events was the CKTS end of season banquet, but we opened up a six indoor tennis court facility. We've also got 6 outdoor courts. We had our CKTS tournament, the Points Per Puppets event. We had that there this year along with at South Warren. So, you know, it's been wild. We were really busy from the day we opened through basically mid-April. Things slowed down a little bit, but then as things have been so hot in June and July, we've been pretty busy. So, as you said, I coordinate all the programming we have at the facility, working closely with Soki Tennis, and then taking care of all of our sponsorship for the facility. So it's been exciting. It's been a transition. As you said, I left a 23-year career in radio behind to do something a little bit different.
Okay, that's it's a big move after such a long time. Also, you coached the South Warren High School Lady Spartans tennis team to another Region 4 championship. Congratulations, sir.
Thank you. It's actually our first, so you can't say another.
It was your first? Really? See, I thought you'd won 2 or 3 maybe out of the last few years. Okay.
We have been the runners-up the last 3 years.
Okay.
But finally got over the hump this year.
Well, good. Yeah.
Clinched it with a win in the semifinals, and then our girls doubles team won the region title again this year, which makes it 6 straight years that one of our teams has won the region title.
That's what I had in mind. I knew that something like that had happened. So it was regional doubles champions and now you're regional team champions. Okay. I really got to do better show prep research. You know, I need to boost my Spartan fandom, I guess, a little bit.
So it was a great accomplishment for our program for sure.
Certainly. And in June, just this last month, you were named Kentucky High School Tennis Coaches Association Girls Coach of the Year. Again, congratulations. It's been the year of Chad, has it not?
It's been a good year for sure. Certainly, I'm not playing my best tennis, but I've had some success in other areas around tennis. So I'm very thankful to the Coaches Association for that. It's a very nice honor. There are a lot of coaches around the state that probably deserved it more, but I'm very thankful to receive it.
Well, congratulations again on that. And all of your accomplishments. Now, as for me, I haven't changed careers. I'm still a digital learning coach for Russell County Schools. I'm still in Russell Springs, but I've actually moved 10 minutes away from my old house to a new house back in December. Well, it's not new. It's actually older than the house we were in. We sold our house and we now live on a small farm, and it's the house is actually where my wife grew up. So we've been remodeling and working on the landscape for over a year now. We're just about all set. And while we have a lot more land, which is great, we're in a smaller house. We downsized. So I have no office. And so I have set up a makeshift office in the front foyer of the house. Can't really show you. There's a little computer table and a shelf, and I'm kind of sitting next to the printer and the trash can. It's very tiny, but for now it works, right?
But I see you got the rackets on the wall. You got the rackets transplanted.
I did. I put the rackets back up on the wall. So, and the fireplace there, you can't see. You can see the fireplace. There's nothing burning right now because it's 90 degrees outside with a heat index of like 103. So none of that. Now, today on this episode of Game Set Match Kentucky, we're going to look at the results of the 2022 Barron Classic. We're also going to look at what's coming up on our tennis calendar. And we're going to say goodbye to a very special person in the history of the CKTS. Our sponsors for this episode, Vision Cabinet Source in Campbellsville, Kentucky, is a kitchen and bath cabinet supplier that ships all over the United States and has for over a decade. Whether you're building a new home or renovating a room in your home, Vision Cabinet Source can provide you with classic cabinet styles that are well built and affordable. You'll also find that they go above and beyond to provide service that exceeds expectations, from answering your initial questions to ensuring that you're happy with the final delivered product. Every Vision cabinet is built upon their promise to deliver well-constructed cabinets made from solid hardwoods, classic, versatile designs that complement your style, affordable options that fit your budget, on-time delivery with shipment within 24 hours, accessible personal service you can count on as well. They have many different lines of cabinets stocked at their warehouse. Check them out on their website. It's a newly revised website, actually, at visioncabinet.com, or you can call them at 270-465-3222. Please tell them you heard about Vision Cabinet Source right here on Game Set Match Kentucky.
Yeah, Family Medical Centers is a community health center with more than 135 locations and has been providing health care to Kentuckians for over a decade. In Somerset, Family Medical Centers include Women's Care of Lake Cumberland on Bogle Street, Somerset Pediatric and Adolescent Associates on Langdon Street, Promise Community Health Center on Bogle Street, and Family Dental of Somerset on College Street. If you're looking for a medical home, make the clinics of Family Medical Centers your first choice. They provide primary care, school-based health care, behavioral health services, oral health services, telehealth, and both pediatric and OBGYN specialty care. For a complete list of locations and providers, check out their website at cfmcky.com.
And we thank you again, Family Medical Centers. Well, our first story today, the Lake Cumberland area and the Bluegrass State has lost a tennis legend. Cliff Randall III of Somerset passed away peacefully last Thursday morning at the age of 70 after a battle with cancer. In his life, he was a husband, father, grandfather, history teacher, a patient golfer, and a great mentor. In tennis, he was an outstanding amateur player who picked up tennis in his 20s and competed for nearly 4 decades. He was also a longtime coach of the Somerset High School tennis team, where he won multiple regional championships and competed well at state. For the CKTS, he was one of the original 4 founders of the Central Kentucky Tennis Series and ran our Somerset tournament for its first few years on our tour. For those of us who knew him, he was a special friend, and he will be greatly missed. On today's episode, after the closing music, I'll be back with more to say about my good friend. But as he would want us to do, let's get back to the tennis news. We're going to go now to the results of the Barron Classic. This was held back on June 4th and 5th in Glasgow, Kentucky. Once again, a great job by longtime tournament director Trina Rickard. Let's start with Chad. Let's start with the juniors.
All right, boys, 12 and under singles. Our winner was Reese Spalding. He won 6-2, 6-3 in the final over Benjamin Grubesic.
All right, boys, 18 and under doubles. We have Lane Urban and Aditya Shaw, defeating Tyler Sherrod and Grant Dunn 6-4, 6-2.
In boys 16 and under singles is what it says on the draw, but it's really boys 15 singles. In the final, we have Aditya Shah beating Lucas Coronel, losing the first set 6-1, winning the second 6-4, and winning the tiebreaker 10-2.
In boys 18 and under singles, Braden Johnson defeated Jay Bailey 6-1, 6-1.
In girls 18 and under doubles, we have Arden Dethridge and Avery Overmole defeating Addison Hales and Chloe Dickens. Those are teammates from Greenwood, 6-1 and 6-1.
In girls 15 and under singles, again, it's labeled 16 and under on the brackets, but it's 15 and under. We have Chloe Dickens defeating Morgan Robertson 6-1, 6-1.
In the girls 18 and under singles, we have the same matchup in Arden Dethridge defeated Morgan Robertson 6-0 and 6-0.
And in mixed 18 and under doubles, Carson Donahue and Paul Leal defeated Emma Young and Mason Young 7-5, 6-3. That's a look at our juniors from the Barron Classic. We'll go next with the adult draws.
In men's B doubles, in the final, it was June Tomioka and Jovan Torres defeating Matthew and Brandon Sheffield 6-4 and 7-5.
In men's 40 and over doubles, we have a round robin where Tom Pennington and Bernie Howard win 2 matches over Steve and Don Humphreys, as well as Scott Conway and Van Patterson.
In men's open doubles was Dylan Dethridge and Colin Hart defeating Tom Pennington and Bernie Howard 7-6, 6-3.
It looks like that was a great match. In men's C singles, the winner of that division is Jamison Roberts of Columbia. And in this round robin, he defeated Kyle Williams and Rex Hansen.
In men's B singles, it was Jovan Torres defeating John or Silas Newton in a third set tiebreaker. He won the first set 6-2, lost the second 6-1, and won the tiebreaker 10-4.
We have yet another round robin. This is heading toward a record of round robins. This is men's 40 and over singles. The champion in that division was Jackson Grover, who defeated Jason Coomer and Wade Stone.
In the men's open singles, Victor Yamada defeated Colin Hart 6-love and 6-love.
In women's open singles, Trina Rickard defeated Shelly Fenton 6-2, 6-3 in the championship match.
Won her own tournament, huh?
Yep. I smell foul play.
In mixed B doubles, we have Brian Coley and Jessica Owsley defeating Jennifer Murray and Denny Murray in a third set tiebreaker, a tight one. Coley and Owsley won the first set 7-5, lost the second 6-4, and then prevailed 12-10 in the super tiebreaker.
And as luck would have it, I get to read the mixed open doubles result where Trina and I lost to Calden Doty and Parker Lawley in a close one, 6-4, 7-5. That was a good match, fun match. So that's a look back at the results from the Barron Classic. And here's what's coming up next on our calendar. The Alton Blakely Lake Cumberland Open is July 30th and 31st in Somerset, Kentucky. The deadline is this coming Tuesday, July 26th at 6 p.m. Eastern Time. Entries are open. After that, we have the Gator Open 2022 on August 13th and 14th in Bowling Green, Kentucky. The deadline for that is Tuesday, August 9th. Entries will open on Monday, August 1st for that event. Visit CKTStour.com to register and to see our complete tournament schedule. CKTS tournaments are USTA sanctioned for juniors and adults at level 6. If you'd like to get something on our calendar announced on the show, email us your tennis event information to info@gamesetmatchky.com. If you're having a tournament, a league, a clinic, or some sort of social event, just about anything tennis related, if you'd like it announced on the show, send it to us. Today, we don't have a challenge the call question, but we love those. So please send us a challenge the call question. Maybe a question you have about a rule or a CKTS policy, maybe something that happened on the court. You were unclear what to do about it. I won't know, but Chad will. And if you want to challenge the call, email us at challenge@gamesetmatchky.com. And that's going to just about already serve out this episode. Chad, it felt good to be back after such a long time. We'll have to do this again soon.
It did. It did. It's hard to believe that we hadn't done a podcast since, what did you say, September?
Tomorrow would be 10 months. It'd be 10 months tomorrow. Yeah.
Lots happened since then. Make sure we don't make it another 10 months before we get to chat again.
Absolutely. And I'd like to thank everybody for listening, or those of you that are watching on Facebook and YouTube. You can subscribe to this podcast with just about any podcast app on your mobile device. I'd like to thank some listeners that we have from new locations, Chad. Now, since we last, we do this periodically. We run down where we're getting new listeners from. There are some strange places in the United States and in the world that are some unusual places that they're listening to for some reason to Game Set Match Kentucky, or maybe they're downloading it accidentally. Who knows? But we're now listened to in 34 states and in 20 countries, believe it or not. So the newest ones in the United States, welcome to our listeners in the state of Iowa. A lot of corn there. Ever been, Chad?
I have been to Iowa a couple times. So
corn
there
and
is
casinos,
a lot of corn.
as far as you can see.
Never been to one of the casinos, but I have been up there, and they've got their fair share of corn as well.
Oh, definitely. Definitely. Thanks to our new listeners in Pennsylvania. Thanks to our new listeners in Mississippi and our new listeners in the state of New York. In the world scene, thank you to our new listeners in Saudi Arabia, in the Philippines, in Brazil, in Russia, and in Botswana. I had to look that one up, Chad.
There's a couple of those locales have been in the news quite a bit in the last 10 months.
Yeah, actually, that's true. In your podcast app on your mobile device or on your computer, we'd love it if you would write us a short review and give us a 5-star rating. You can also visit GameSetMatchKY.com for all of our episodes. Please like our Facebook page. You can find it at GameSetMatchKY or by searching for Game Set Match Kentucky, the podcast. We're also on Twitter at GameSetMatchKY. Chad is on Twitter at Chad Young Radio, or you prefer, Chad, do you prefer your other?
That has since become Chad Young Tennis. Once I gave up the radio, but Chad Young Tennis or SWHS Tennis.
All right. I just popped those on the screen there for us. I'd like to also thank our sponsors once again, Vision Cabinet Source and Family Medical Centers. Don't forget to stick around for my brief tribute to Cliff Randall. Otherwise, Hawkeye says we are out. Until next time, I'm Chris Godby with Chad Young, and this has been Game Set Match Kentucky. I wanted to use these few minutes after the podcast to share a few words about the passing of my good friend, Cliff Randall, who died last week on July 14th. Now, that's Bastille Day in France, which kind of randomly he and I adopted as a holiday that we celebrated for no real reason. My earliest memory of him is when he and his wife, Jerry, were my Sunday school teachers when I was a preteen. And then when I was about 13, I started learning the sport of tennis from him in clinics that he taught at Somerset Community College. He seemed to really enjoy teaching tennis. He was really patient. He was really positive and really encouraging with his instruction. He actually ended up as my high school tennis coach at Somerset High School during my senior year. And when I began teaching at Somerset, where he'd already been teaching and coaching for a while, he took this new teacher under his wing and helped me navigate my first year in the classroom by offering advice that would carry through my 26 years in the classroom. That year, I volunteered to be his assistant tennis coach. And again, what he taught me about coaching helped me immensely as I went on to be a head coach at another school soon after. We still talked all the time. We met up to play tennis. We traveled to watch some pro tournaments. And some of my favorite memories involve our trips to the pro tournament in Cincinnati, or we went twice to the U.S. Open in New York, and that was a blast too. Even as an adult in my 20s and 30s, sometimes we'd take a break from practicing or match play, and he'd stop and give me a few pointers. Now, I'm a terrible tennis player in the grand scheme of the sport, not because of Cliff, but in spite of him, because what few skills I do have, I owe to his instruction and his patience and encouragement. Whether he would help me with tennis or landscaping or decision-making, he never asked for anything in return, and that's the sort of generous person that he was. He was also a great listener. He was a big talker. If you got on the phone with him, you'd better have the next hour or two free. Dave Brown, you know what I'm talking about. We could have a 30-minute deep dive about racket strings or grips or shoes or anything else, because he had a lot to say for a guy who was kind of reclusive, stayed near his house almost all the time. But these long talks were never boring. He always had very interesting things to say about sports, politics, education, religion, TV, movies, music. And any advice he gave was usually dead on. Everybody who knew Cliff liked him. As far as I know, I'm not aware of anybody who didn't. When you talked to him, you came away with something valuable, whether it was advice or a hilarious story, or did he just put you in a better mood? I probably have 900 funny stories about Cliff, but I'll share just one. When I was in my 20s, we'd practice together all the time at his neighborhood tennis court in Somerset. It was usually Cliff, me, and his son, Greg. I'd been improving, and I was getting closer and closer to winning a set off of Cliff. I would lose 6-4 or 7-5, just that close. Well, one afternoon, I was beating him badly, and I was up 4-love quickly before I noticed he was playing in flip-flops. He hadn't even bothered to put on his tennis shoes. Well, I was so shaken up by that disappointment and distraught that I went on to lose the set. And I can still see him grinning behind those Ray-Ban Wayfarers, those black sunglasses he wore all the time. And he's scooting around the court with his signature Adidas flip-flops. Well, it's probably safe to say that the CKTS may not exist if it weren't for Cliff Randall. If he hadn't been such a charismatic coach when I was a kid, I may never have developed the love of the game. I may never have gone on to become a coach like he did and start running tournaments like he did. 20 years ago, it was the idea of linking his Somerset tournament with my Russell Springs tournament and then joining 2 others that created the original 4-tournament Central Kentucky Tennis Series. So if you're having fun playing on our tour, let's give a nod to Cliff for that. There will absolutely never be another Cliff Randall. He was one of a kind, and I already miss him terribly. But I take comfort in the fact that as a fellow believer in Jesus Christ, I will get to catch up with him one day down the road. We'll probably pop open a new can of balls too. And maybe I'll get a rematch of him in his flip-flops. Until then, rest easy, Coach Cliff.